It's certainly welcome that we've made progress. If President Milosevic has actually accepted now that there has to be international observers on the ground, that he cannot carry on committing these atrocities against the Kosovo people, then that is a very welcome step forward. But it has only been achieved because we have stood firm, because we have said that we will use force to ensure compliance with the UN resolutions, and his commitment is not yet enough. We have to have that commitment delivered, so that threat of force has to remain, and we must ensure, in particular, that the humanitarian catastrophe in Kosovo is averted.
You're looking at a long-term operation, aren't you?
We're certainly looking at an operation that is going to keep President Milosevic from going back to the barbarism he engaged in before. We must make sure that we deal with the humanitarian catastrophe. We've come this far, frankly, only because we were prepared to use force, because that is the only language President Milosevic understands. But we've also got to make sure that the commitments he's made are actually carried through. So that threat of force has got to remain. That said, it's a very welcome step. We're delighted it's been done, but we've got to carry the rest of it through now.
Do you suspect that even at this late stage he is still playing up brinksmanship?
He will get away with as much as he can get away with, which is what I've been saying for months. Therefore, though this is a good deal, it's very welcome that he's accepted. We have this international force there, that he gets his people out of the situation, that he stops committing the atrocities. All that's fine, but it's only been achieved by the mixture of diplomacy and the threat of force, and will only keep it in place if he knows that if he goes back to doing what he did before, then in order to avert the humanitarian catastrophe, the West will act, that we will act, and we will.
If you have to take a guess, we're talking airstrikes in 4 days if it comes to it. Do you suspect now that the likelihood of that has receded considerably, or do you think it's still very much on?
It's a breakthrough, but he's got to be in no doubt this is not brinkmanship by us. We are prepared to see this thing through. We're prepared to use force if necessary. But if we can get what we need by a mixture of diplomatic means and the threat of force, then fine. But we've only come this far because we've been prepared to see it through, and we'll only make sure that he turns the commitments he's given, the promises he's made, into actual compliance if we're still prepared to see it through.